Hey, it's halftime of an awful Monday night game, which means it is Tully time right here on Facebook, Twitter, social media. It's Nordo from 9 to noon on a Monday night, hunkered down. I think this is my basement, but it's good to hang out with you. And joining me, special guest Jillian Murphy from Tullamore Dew. Meat Sauce Paul Lambert from the Power Trip Morning Show. He's going to be with me in a handful of minutes. We're going to talk not only about there's not much to talk about the game that's going on tonight. Giants up 14-6 on the Pats, or the Bucks, I should say. But Vikings, border battle 121 taking place last night. But let's get to the A topic here, Tullamore Dew. This is an Irish whiskey that over the last 5 years or so, I would say, I'm 35 now, that I have slowly started to get into, slowly started to enjoy. And now I've gotten the opportunity to meet you, Jillian. How are you and who are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me first and foremost. My name is Jillian Murphy and I'm a brand ambassador for this amazing Irish whiskey. So I essentially have the best job in the world. I get to travel the whole of the United States selling this good stuff and meeting folks like yourself.
Absolutely. So what I'm doing here now, I had to go to the website to find different ideas on how to drink it. I'm fairly simplistic in life, Jillian. And so I'm either drinking a beer or I'm having a glass of whiskey. What I found out via Tullamore Dew's website is having a dew with a brew is actually the perfect combo. What am I drinking right now?
Definitely is. So it looks like you've got some kind of IPA beer there. Am I right in saying that?
Yes, yes, Uda Pills. This is the Tall Tales IPA. You're not familiar with it, but it's a brewery here in Minneapolis. It's delicious. And then I'm matching it up with, of course, the Dew.
There you go. So you've got your iconic Dew and a brew. So well done, first and foremost, for finding that on our website. I'm sure it was dug deep in there. But essentially, pairing your Irish whiskey with your favorite beer is one of the easiest and simplest ways to drink it. So Tullamore Dew is a triple blended Irish whiskey. It's a blend of all three styles. You've got grain whiskey, malt whiskey, and pot still whiskey. And when you're pairing the Tullamore Dew with an IPA like that, you're really going to bring out the fruity notes in the Tullamore Dew. So it goes nice. So
wait a minute. Tell me, this looks really scientific right now. So I'm going to sip.
Yeah, there you go. Take in all the notes. You might taste some fresh green apple, some citrusy lemon.
This is delicious. Now I dig into the IPA, right?
Wash it down with your IPA, exactly. You're a pro. You don't need me here.
Oh,
how's that?
This is magic. This is magic. Now, what I see in front of you, you are not here in Minneapolis, but I am watching your kitchen. It's a weird world, a virtual universe. And so, beautiful kitchen, by the way. Heavily stocked in Tullamore Dew. There's no shortage of that in the mix. What do you have in front of you?
So I was going to say how to make iced Irish coffee, because I know this game is a little bit boring and people might be struggling to stay awake. So I thought I'd give you a little caffeine boost to keep you perked up. You ready?
Yes. All
right. So I've got an ice-filled shaker here. And if people don't have this at home, they can just fill a jam jar with ice or anything that they can shake with. And I'm going to take my very scientific jigger here and put in 1.5 ounces of Tullamore Dew. And again, if you don't have a jigger at home, that's fine. You can use a measuring cup, a teaspoon, whatever. Throw it in there. Next, I'm going to put in some espresso for the caffeine boost. So I've got 1 ounce of espresso measured in here, and it's going to go straight into my shaker as well. The next ingredient is an Irish cream liqueur. Use whichever one you like. And I'm going to put 0.75 that straight into the shaker. And then the last bit is the simple syrup. So simple syrup is essentially just sugar and water mixed together. I'm going to do a very little part of this for sweetness, so about half an ounce or a quarter of an ounce, in it goes. And you can find this recipe on our website, so don't worry if you're scrambling to try and copy what I'm saying. And now I'm going to give it a shake, so excuse the noise. So I want to shake that up. I want to make it nice and foamy.
Oh, that's perfect.
And we're going to clean it in here. Oh, nice foamy head on it. Now, I think this is the perfect halftime drink for a boring game. So before you drink Irish whiskey, you have to make a toast and a cheers. So do you know any Irish toast?
I'm glad you brought this up. So check this out. I did some Google searching today, Jillian. You hail from Ireland. You are from the old country, and so I want to check on these toasts and see if any of these hit you the right way. Okay.
All right.
All right. There are several good reasons for drinking, and one has just entered my head. If a man can't drink when he's living, then how the heck can he drink when he's dead? How about that?
That was brilliant. Cheers. I'll drink to that.
Yep. Okay. How about this one? I am not done. I am not finished. This one's simple. Doesn't really rhyme, but just think about it. As you slide down the banisters of life, may the splinters never point the wrong way. Cheers.
I'll drink to that one too, Sláinte. Well done. I'll have to copy some of those down and bring them out with me this weekend.
Hang on. Okay, Jillian, I got you for another minute here, okay?
All right.
Now, I don't know if you've heard this one. I think this one is big in Wexford, which is my new Gaelic rules football team. Just like the Vikings, colors are purple and gold, and they've never won the league.
Exactly.
Dung hills rise and castles fall. We are all equal, one and all.
Sláinte, again, you are just coming up with all the gems today. You're going to do me out of a job.
This is fantastic. Jillian, where should people go and find not only recipes, but more about Tullamore Dew, one of the greatest whiskeys on the planet of the Irish variety?
I agree with you there. So you can go to www.tullamoredew.com and you can get a whole host of recipes, places to buy, and some more information about the brand.
Well, that's fantastic, Jillian. I'm going to see you a week from now. I'm going to have more Irish toasts. I'm going to have more intel on Gaelic rules football. And you will be the biggest Vikings fan ever a week from now. I'll make sure of it. Have a good night.
Agreed. See you later. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you so much. Tullamore Dew. It is Tully time. Halftime of Tampa and the Giants. 14-6, the current score. Giants stunningly on top of the 12-point favorited Buccaneers and Tom Brady. Kind of a hideous game, to be honest with you. Now joining me to not talk about that game, but talk about our favorite team, Meat Sauce Paul Lambert from the Power Trip Morning Show. How you doing, homie? Well, you're currently muted, so this is going well.
Hi.
There we go. How you doing, homie?
Hi. How are you, man?
I'm doing good.
Great, brother. How are you?
Did you watch I have the Dew and the Brew?
Man, that was brilliant. That part was a great. I really liked all the toast that you had, and I liked how prepared you were, and that looks amazing. And I will say, I have been to that distillery.
You've been to Tullamore? Well, yeah, you went to Ireland a long time ago.
Yeah, I've been there. It was super fun, man. Just to see the process of it and everything. And of course, it's it's an amazing product. I've had it direct from the source. It's phenomenal. Tullamore Dew is amazing. Yeah,
that's sweet. I know from a beer perspective, like the beer you drink in Europe is almost nothing like what you drink in the U.S. Just because it's either got to come over on a boat or they ship it in from Canada, however. But whiskey, I mean, Tullamore is fantastic. But I want to talk to you about this. It is Tully time, halftime here. What were your feelings following might you say, surprising game yesterday? I mean, this is a 1-5 team. A couple of weeks ago, we're talking about rebuilds and all of those things. Suddenly, Dalvin does Dalvin things. He's a special guy. And now this team's 2-5, weird NFC, and maybe there's an opportunity for them to win more games. What do you think?
I think one of the weirdest things about the whole thing, Nordo, is how quickly and what one win can do. Because we talked about it yesterday in overtime, and we talked about it today on the Power Trip. You look at the schedule, minus the game in Chicago, they should be favorited. There isn't any reason this team couldn't rattle off 4 or 5 straight wins. I mean, you get Detroit here, Detroit's Detroit. Then you have to go to Chicago, which is tough, obviously. But at one point, you get to play Jacksonville, who's starting a 6th-round pick. You get to play Dallas, that's horrible. Dallas is one of the worst teams in football. And you go from there, and you could rattle off a couple of wins. Now, I think the one thing that may come true that could not true, but could come back to haunt them is this secondary is banged up. And all jokes aside, you get a healthy Kenny Galladay and that Matthew Stafford in there slinging that football around. That offense in Detroit can put up points. Will they? Who knows? But it's another division game that they have to play, but it changes a lot. Beating Green Bay changes a ton. Now they have all the confidence in the world, and everyone is praising how well that offensive line played yesterday.
Yeah, see, that's where it's tough, man. And you know me, I'm a straight rube. I'm emotional and childish about it, and I'm the guy that wanted to see the win yesterday. I want to see him try to win every game the rest of the season. It's kind of battling philosophies with those that might be thinking, let's just get a good draft pick, etc. But the thing for me, this offensive line, it was good yesterday because Dalvin was great yesterday. And it's kind of like, think about it like this. Kenny Clark and Zadarius Smith will hammer Kirk all day long if they're able to contain the run by any stretch of the imagination. He gets loose. He's successful early. He's successful often and repeatedly. And so if you're Kenny Clark, if you're Zadarius Smith, you can normally pin your ears down and back and get after Kirk, but you can't do it this time because you have to worry about Dalvin. So it's in some ways, it's like the running attack and the success of Dalvin in some ways protected Kirk. And ultimately, they just had to protect him for 14 dropbacks. And one of those was Dean Lowry uncovered, who hasn't had a sack in like 3 seasons. So, I still see massive issues with the O-line. But I do agree with you. This team's going to be favored in the next, probably 5 out of 6 games. And so if they win that, it's the weird thing managing like Vikings fans' emotions and things. How do I feel about a team battling to get to 8-8? You know what I mean? Like, what does that mean? I was reading a report, Florio's out there with his sash and his whistle, and, he's out there reporting everything COVID related. The concept that, if more games are in flux and if there are more COVID related issues, that they could potentially put 16 teams in the playoffs. So 8 from each conference. Well, what does that look like? Now, suddenly it's like, well, the Vikes at 8-8, they got a shot. They're in the mix. But if they make the playoffs at 8-8, can they go to Tampa and win a Super Bowl? I mean, you'd have to say logically no. And it's because of those injuries and some of the inexperience you see defensively for the Vikings right now. So I'm battling emotions as I have my dew and my brew, and it's Tully time. And thank you for hanging out with me, Saucy. But I'm battling those emotions of wanting them to win every game, but not necessarily seeing the optimism of the carrot at the end of this road,
Yeah. And the other problem that they have, though, Nordo, is that secondary is horrible. If that game's inside, I think they lose by 14 because I think the weather affected everything that every team did and every game plan and all that, especially with the Packers. You get them in a controlled environment in a dome. I mean, and you get him in there in a quiet U.S. Bank Stadium where there's no fans, he picks them apart. But he didn't. And the Vikings had a great game plan, and they came to play. And as Bursic said, Hockey said this morning. Bursic got there yesterday to the game and basically said, hey, the Packers didn't practice this week in lieu of thinking that they would just roll the ball out and destroy the Vikings. They had a walkthrough on Wednesday. And here we are, and they lost. They didn't take the Vikings serious, and the Vikings did. Now, the problem is we saw yesterday with the Vikings, they're 100% one-dimensional.
Oh, yeah. How about that, by the way, yesterday? And we'll wrap this up very quickly. But the concept, if they're inside, we saw what them being inside against the Vikings looks like. It was week 1.
Right.
It was Aaron Rodgers dismantling us and just making us bend the knee every time he touched the ball. And to the point yesterday, as much as we're fawning over Dalvin, and we absolutely should be, Dalvin was remarkable, amazing yesterday. The concept that Kirk didn't have to attempt a pass longer than 10 yards in the air. I mean, come on, man.
Did you see that interception?
I'm streaming, and so I'm about to see it. Is this Daniel Jones here dropping back to pass, 2nd and 8,
It's
avoiding
horrible.
pressure,
It's
throwing
horrible.
the ball, and it's – oh, you're kidding me. Is that Carlton Davis right there? Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, what's
Ridiculous
what are
is
you
that
doing?
I had the Bucs by 11.5. We'll just say how annoyed I am at this particular moment. Maybe that's the game changer. And speaking of game changers, that's you, my friend. Thanks for hanging out with me. Next time we get together,
Yeah, man, enjoy your Tully and your
we'll
Dew
do
and a brew.
the Dew and the Brew. Dew and the Brew. Thanks. See you later.
Absolutely, man.
Have a good night.
That stuff's amazing.
No, it absolutely is. It's Tully time and halftime on Monday Night Football. We're going to hang out and we're going to have different variations. Tonight it was a Dew and a Brew. You saw my new friend Jillian making an Irish coffee. Tullamore Dew. Follow them on Twitter or go to the website. Follow different cocktail recipes. Again, I have to admit, this is something over the last few years I've just started to gain steam on. I absolutely love these guys and the opportunity to have conversations about what I'm drinking and what I'm thinking. So go Vikes, go beat the Lions. Thank you for watching via Facebook and Twitter. And you guys have a great night and enjoy the rest of this hopefully more entertaining second half of these Giants and Bucs. Cheers, guys.